Agent Romanov. You miss me?
Oh yeah, Charles, we got ourselves an X-Men fan.
Captain.
Your Highness.
Captain, big fan, Spider-Man. Hey everyone.
For all time. But I won't lie, I don't even know where we stand after this episode. What? Hey everybody, welcome back to Film RT. I'm Guy 𝗪𝗃𝗃𝗀, and today we are breaking down Loki episode 6, the finale, the coup de grace, the cherry on top, the end of it all. Well, let me just say this. If you haven't watched it, go leave now, come on back. That's what I keep telling you to do every week, and then come right back here to break down this episode, because this sets up a lot for the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Let's hop right into it. Okay, so Loki episode 6 starts off with where we left off in episode 5. They are at this citadel, apparently, in the void with Sylvie and Loki. This is where I thought we would pick up, and we definitely did. And so Loki and Sylvie are kind of debating whether they want to go inside because they're not sure what they will find, which makes a lot of sense here because they've gone through the most ridiculous adventure. I mean, Loki more recently, but Sylvie's kind of been doing this for a while. But timekeepers, TVA, time travel, branching timelines, all leading up to this one fixed point. They end up going into the Citadel, and they're actually greeted by Miss Minutes. I didn't think Miss Minutes was necessarily going to show back up, but apparently she does, and she offers Loki and Sylvie an option from the one who remains. And that's who we kind of start learning about. Okay, there's this person that Miss Minutes refers to, the one who remains. It means that she was kind of in the know, that the timekeepers were never really a thing. Alone, if they just kind of put things aside, they can have everything that they've ever wanted in their previous timelines. We just call it a day and we won't worry about it anymore. What I like about this is the Lokis don't really even waver here. They're like, we're not even going to consider that, because this point where we're here, what we've worked for and fought for, is more important than us getting some weird fiction fantasy that you can create in some timeline. Shortly after the sequence, we hop back over to the TVA, where we see Ravonna is gathering all this information about the end of time, because she's clearly trying to figure out why she was lied to. The TVA is compromised, but she still seems to be a pretty big believer the TVA is. So everyone turns pretty quickly in this show, right? Loki from evil to pretty good, Mobius from dedicated TVA to not believing it at all. But Ravonna's not that way. She's almost somewhat objective about the situation, that like, if there's this great lie, there might have been a reason for it. If there's this great strung together organization to keep time together, perhaps there's a greater purpose. So you see her searching, and this is eventually where her and Miss Minutes actually meet up, and she is told that she's going to be given information about he who remains, not necessarily the information about the end of time. Then we flash back over to Loki and Sylvie entering the mansion, obviously foregoing Miss Minutes' offer of this fiction life that she could put together. And we start seeing some interesting things, some hooded statue figures of like clock faces. They keep walking forward, not much is happening, no fights break out, and I was also wondering like where is this Citadel situation gonna go to? And they run into the person behind it all, the one who remains, and believe it or not, it's exactly what we were kind of expecting. It was Jonathan Majors. And if you don't know who Jonathan Majors is, he's one who's been casted as Kang the Conqueror. Bah! We figured something out. Good us, super sleuths, except everything in the world. It led us to this point. But not all is what it seems. Because Jonathan Majors, Kang the Conqueror, or the one that we are introduced to, He Who Remains, he's a variant of Kang the Conqueror. So we have not been introduced to anybody yet. After this massive reveal, and I was super glad to have Jonathan Majors be shown, and like, okay, this is the guy who we're going to be seeing for quite some time in the MCU. We hop back over to the TVA, where Mobius and Ravonna have one last interaction, and they talk about how the TVA has removed free will. Mobius is really amped about that, and Ravonna is explaining her reasoning for even pruning Mobius after realizing the truth. She's saying, but what if it was all for a purpose? What if there's a reason behind this that's greater than what we understand? And Mobius is like, what? Take away our free will? And Ravonna still, you could tell, believes that that's probably what was necessary. At the end of this exchange, Ravonna leaves through a time portal and we don't see her for the rest of the episode.
Before we continue our video, I just want to let you guys know that we have a really cool Instagram that updates on a regular basis. So if you like all things Marvel, this is the Instagram for you. So go follow that 𝗪𝗁𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃 Instagram right now. You won't regret it, I promise you. Seriously, open Instagram right now and click that follow button. Now back to the video.
This is kind of the point in the episode where I got a little like, oh, this is where the villain or the person behind it all kind of just conjectures, and it was a lot of talking, it was a lot of explaining, and I'm not opposed to this because I wanted answers too. But sometimes when you build a show and all it is that it leads up to the final episode to explain everything else that's happened, it could get a little old and boring. I'm a big Marvel lover, so I was okay with it, but it did get a little like, okay, we're still talking. I kept scrolling the mouse to see we don't have much time left in the episode. Stuff needs to happen. Jonathan Majors, Kang the Conqueror, let's just call him He Who Remains, starts explaining basically all the reason behind what he's done. And the main point here is that he is a 31st century dude, like Kang the Conqueror, if you know the history, and him and other variants of him all discovered this sacred timeline multiverse situation, and they started to meet at the same place of, I guess, the TVA, and interact and congratulate each other for being great minds and discovering this multiverse situation. And together with his Kang variants, with his He Who Knows the End, He Who Remains variants, they began the TVA. During this recap of his history of how he got here, He Who Remains, or Kang, explains that the reason that he created the TVA, though, is that not all the variants of him are good. In fact, some variants of him are very, very bad. And he even uses the word, some of them are conquerors. And they came with the purpose of not unifying and keeping all multiverse timelines good and helping it. Instead, they just said, there will be one timeline, and I will conquer anyone else who tries to oppose me. So he's basically saying he's the one who keeps things safe. He created all of this. He weaponized Alioth. He created the TVA for the purpose of keeping his evil variants at bay. And you could tell he's legitimately scared about the reality of if he is displaced, if he's killed in this situation with Loki and Sylvie, that it unleashes an unending amount of possibilities in the multiverse, and a lot of them resulted in Kang the Conqueror coming forth. After his spiel of his origin and why he's done it, they still exclaim liar, and he makes a good point. Jonathan Majors makes a good point. He's like, we're all villains here, and at this point I don't not much have a reason to lie. You guys have been, since all I've put together and predicted, the ones who ought to be here at this moment. This leads to him offering them a choice, which was either to take over the TVA with Loki and Sylvie running it and telling them what their purpose and moving forward, or to kill him and to release the madness of the multiverse. Sylvie doesn't seem like she needs much time to figure that out, and she immediately goes after Jonathan Majors to kill him, and Loki stops her and says, listen, what if he's telling the truth? We need to at least consider this. And Sylvie's like, no, you're trying to take the throne. You want control of time. You're just a bad Loki. And Loki's trying to tell her, like, no, that's not my motivation at all. Actually, my only motivation, Sylvie, is that you end up being okay as a result of all of this. They exchange a kiss, and Sylvie, during that kiss, opens a time portal, kicks Loki out, kills He Who Remains, and we have absolute chaos. We see it on the screens. Everything's breaking. All timelines are branching. It's all falling apart. And the only thing we're left at the end is Loki meeting back up with Mobius and Hunter B-15, except they don't remember who he is. And he looks over and he realizes that the TVA Timekeeper statue has changed from not 3 but to 1. And that 1 is in comic accurate Kang the Conqueror clothing. That's right. It looks like, as a result of killing the one who remains, that Kang the Conqueror has come to be in power. And that's going to lead us into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think that's exactly what this is for. this whole season established that once they did what they did, there's no unprotected timelines, and Kang the Conqueror can come forth, and it seems like he's going to be a pretty formidable foe. I think this is someone we're going to have around for quite some time in Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. At the end, we also get a clear, resounding yes, we will be getting a Season 2 of Loki, the first continuation of a TV show from Disney Plus in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it's a big deal. More Tom Hiddleston. To kind of sum up this whole season, I liked it, but I feel like its purpose is different than WandaVision. WandaVision fleshed out Wanda and her abilities to kind of get her to Scarlet Witch point and kind of opened the door for Vision to show up again. The Falcon and Winter Soldier is the establishing of Falcon as Captain America and some development of the Winter Soldier. This season of Loki, its purpose was not to flesh out Loki to give us one last hurrah. It's actually to say all the stuff that's about to go down in the future movies, it's because He Who Remains has been killed and the multiverses are breaking and Kang the Conqueror is coming, and it's going to lead to various and multiple possibilities. We have variants, different Lokis, we have different universes, we have a great orchestrator behind it that's been dispatched. So that's what Loki is set up, and with that in my context, I feel like the show served its purpose. What's hard for me is now I can't view the show as like, well, is it better than this or better than that? Well, it's not done. First off, it's gonna have another season. And second off, it's establishes Jonathan Majors, establishes the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and for that, I'm thankful. It's a good show. You need to watch it. I think it's a good primer for what's coming forward. All that being said, I liked Loki, and I hope you liked it too, and I think you need to go watch it right now. If you haven't, if you sat through here, you have a lot more context. All that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. We're always trying to make you guys this kind of daily. Please drop your comments below what you thought about this Loki season finale, and until next time, guys, I will see you later.